Chapter 1 Ochalong Anchorage, Phuket, Thailand, November 15th, 2012. When the voice erupted from the VHF radio, Riley jumped. The sandpaper in her hand slid off the teak handrail and scratched the boat's gel coat.
Bonefish, this is Merlin 2.
Eerie to hear this call just when she was thinking about him, as though he were reading her mind. She wanted to talk to him, too. His wet swimsuit lay on the cabin sole where he had stepped out of it, and his iPad and sheet music covered the main salon table. He had been sitting below playing guitar and crooning his Carolina bluegrass while she sanded and put another coat of varnish on the starboard handrail. Okay, it wasn't his boat, so she couldn't expect him to do the maintenance, but before he hopped into that dinghy and raced off to the yacht club, he might have cleaned up after himself. He now spent so much of his life with the 1%, he often forgot how the rest got by. In 2 steps, she was at the chart table and she grabbed the microphone. "This is Bonefish. Up 1?" He started speaking immediately on the new frequency.
Riley, glad you were listening. I think you'll want to come ashore.
Okay, what's up?
There's something here you're going to want to see right away.
She climbed up the steps and peered across the still, flat water of the bay. She spotted the lighthouse and then looked right until she could make out the low structure of the Ochalong Yacht Club. What's going on? Are you at the club?
Yeah, I played 1 set, and when I went to the bar for a cold one, Roger told me he had something for you.
Riley cocked her head to one side and stared at the mic in her hand as though it could explain what he was talking about. When it didn't, she pressed the button and said, "Go on."
It's a letter, babe. Postmark is Bangkok. No return address. Funny-looking handwriting. Kinda looks weird, nervous-like. Anyway, I figured you'd want to know.
A letter for her? Addressed to the Ochalong Yacht Club? Who even knew she was here? When she communicated with her employers at Mercury Security or with her best friend Hazel, it was always by email. Snail mail was about as relevant to her as a vinyl record. Still, someone had sent her a letter. Who the hell wrote letters anymore? There was one very remote possibility. She shook her head. No way. She was done chasing after that dream. Only one way to find out. She keyed the mic. "Thanks, Billy. I'm on my way in." The oars struck bottom, and with one last pull, she drove the flat-hulled dinghy onto the beach. Riley hopped out and pulled the boat a few feet up the sand. She ran her cable around a palm tree and through the dinghy pad-eye, then snapped on the big combination lock. Security was never far from her thoughts, just as when she set her alarm system before leaving the boat. The sun had already set behind the island's mountaintop Big Buddha statue. Even with the sun gone, the sweat dripped from her brow and upper lip. She'd rowed as if there were some hurry, and harder still when her old Marine Corps shoulder injury began complaining. Somehow it felt right to punish herself for even considering that remote possibility. After chasing shadows from Martinique to Venezuela to Panama and across the Pacific for more than 3 years, she had moved on. Billy was proof of that, wasn't he? She dug her grapnel anchor into the sand and started up the beach toward the lights of the Ochalong Yacht Club. A big white awning covered the deck, protecting the dark wood tables and wicker chairs from the effects of both Thai seasons, wet and dry. At one end of the deck, Billy Barber sat on a stool picking his guitar and nearly swallowing the microphone as he wailed, "Honey, let me be your salty dog," to the 3 occupied tables. Riley stood next to a palm tree out in the dusky darkness. She knew he couldn't see her yet. Damn, he looked good. When it came time for them to part, and she reckoned that time wasn't far off, she would miss him. His deep tan and the almost white blonde hair falling into his eyes made him look like the quintessential surfer dude. In fact, he was a Grand Prix-level professional racing sailor conditioning here in Phuket and preparing for the King's Cup regatta in December. They'd met at a bar that belonged to an Aussie, a former sailor. The bar was sort of a yachty hangout, and Billy had been telling stories about his racing success as bowman on Merlin 2, the custom 80-footer that belonged to some gazillionaire. Billy's North Carolina